What's up, everyone? So I'm in the midst of changing the clutch on this Viper behind me. We finally got the transmission back from replacing it, and I didn't think this method was going to work, but we have changed the pilot bearing, and on the pilot bearing on a Viper is in the crankshaft. It's not in the flywheel like you would see on the floor. So typically, or not typically, but sometimes you'll see the pilot bearing in the middle of the flywheel. On this flywheel, you take it off and you're left with just this big gaping hole. So I have a new pilot bearing that I want to put in. The one that's in there isn't really that old, so I was debating leaving it, but this is the issue. You guys can probably already tell by the title and from what's on the ground here. We're using the bread method. I did try just grease, but it wasn't really working, and if it was gonna work, it was gonna take a lot more effort. So I figured, what the heck, before I go and rent a tool to take this out, I would try it with the bread method. And lo and behold, I just wanted to stop what I was doing and start this video because it is actually coming out. So this mess here is a combination of me doing initially the grease, and now we've switched to bread, and it has started to come out. So you guys can see the pilot bearing starting to come out. So I'm gonna keep whacking on it. And what you need, just packs a bunch of bread in there. As silly as it sounds, put bread in there and get yourself some sort of rod that you can put in the hole that fits as perfectly as possible. If there's any space around the hole between the actual rod or driver that you're using and the pilot bearing, the bread or the grease is just going to squirt out past it and come back. So what you're trying to do is drive the bread or whatever, you know, fluid into there so that the bearing can actually come out. And bread seems to be the one that's tacky enough that it won't squirt out, but it'll go in and push the bearing out. So I'm going to continue wailing on this and show you guys what's going on. So you're going to continue to hit it with the hammer and feed this thing more bread so that you can displace the bearing inside. So it is hungry. We're going to feed it. So I just finished getting it out slightly. So I'm going to put a tiny bit more bread in there. And we're gonna keep packing it. What you want to make sure that you're not hitting the outside of the bearing, because that's gonna do exactly the opposite of what you're trying to do. So we're good and clear. It's getting messy, but if this works, it'll save me having to go rent the tool to take the pilot bearing out. So, like I said, just make sure you don't actually wail on the bearing, because you're going to drive back in and make more work for yourself. So, and she's moving. Bigger hammer would help, but it's coming out, so I still have a little bit more to go before I have to pack some bread in there. Okay, let's fill her up with some more. You can see it's already moved itself out again. It's hilarious. So jam in another little chunk of bread. And it's not like you have to use a whole loaf or anything silly. I'm literally only just using, like, I brought out 3 pieces not knowing what I was going to get into, and I'm only using 1 piece of bread. So. Alright, we're almost out, guys. And I'm just using a regular hammer. I bet if I had a real hammer, not this little contractor hammer, this would probably already be out by now, to be honest with you, but whatever. A few more whacks and it looks like we might be winning here. Well, almost. Looks like one more bread packing event. I don't want to jinx myself because I said that last time, but We are well on our way. This is hilarious. The one thing I was concerned about is the more, I mean, once you kind of commit to putting bread in here, if this thing doesn't come out, I don't think you can go back to putting it in service if you wanted to. So, whereas the grease, if you're questioning it like I was thinking, then you could maybe leave it if you weren't successful. But the bread's definitely a one-way street. And that's it, guys. There she is. So we got the bearing out. Now we got to get the bread out. But the bearing itself is out.